Hi, everybody. Expository writing is an interesting way to express yourself. It really isn't a forceful way to communicate. You're not trying to persuade anybody anything. And it's really not a dramatic way of writing. It's simply a way to communicate. Expository writing gives details. It gives descriptions. It's called expository writing because, as some suggest, it exposes information that needs to be presented. Let me give you an example. I wrote this paragraph, and let's see if you can follow what I wrote. Farmers have experienced a severe drought for the third year in a row. They are struggling even more than ever. Now, I put this out here so that you can see it. Farmers have experienced a severe drought for the third year in a row. They are struggling even more than before. Now, that would be considered your introductory paragraph, the very first paragraph that you're writing, because you're wanting to tell the reader what it is you're talking about. And in this paragraph that I just showed you, you just told them you're talking about farmers going through a drought. So that tells the reader, okay, now I know what this essay, this article, this writing is all about. Now, let's say you want to give more information. And that's the whole idea behind expository writing, is you want to give them more information. Let's say you want to tell everybody that the rainfall has been 1/3 the normal amount. And farmers have turned to other sources for water. Well, that is what you're including in your writing. You write it down and you include it as you continue with your essay. The rainfall has been 1/3 the amount, normal amount. Farmers have turned to other sources for water, or as a result, farmers have turned to other sources for water. Now, what you're doing is presenting more and more and more information. It's all relating to the drought the farmers are going through. It's all relating through what the farmers are dealing with. It's all relating to information that can help the reader understand about the drought and how it's impacting farmers. But you're writing it in such a way to get people's attention. The first paragraph that I read to you was about getting people's attention. I could be talking about what my summer was like. Or I could be talking about that ride I rode in to get to the city to go to the amusement park. It could be any one of those ideas, but you make sure you introduce it in that first paragraph so that when the reader reads it, they know what the rest of the writing is about. You see, it would not be expository if I said, I went to the amusement park this last Sunday, had a really good time. We jumped on rides and we went ahead and swam in the pool at the park. But if in the next paragraph you said, and then when my buddy came by and we decided to skip the park and go somewhere else. And then after we went somewhere else, we went ahead and decided to write down our goals for the week. That wouldn't be an expository writing. That would be you maybe journalizing or making a journal or giving a report of what you did. That's not expository writing. Expository writing is when you start with one main idea. The farmers had a drought. We went to the amusement park. I love riding with my parents to the city. You start with an idea, a main idea, or as it's called, a main theme. And then you explain that same idea even more. I enjoy riding with my family to the city because I know we're going to see a lot of stuff and go to a lot of stores. First paragraph. Second paragraph. One of the stores I will go to will probably be McDonald's. They have great chocolate shakes and they have great burgers. I love their burgers and shakes, and I love their French fries too. Very tasty. Then, the next paragraph, you talk about another part of the city I like to go to is the park. I like the park because there's plenty of benches. I like the park because the trees are there and the grass is growing. And sometimes I see a dog running around. You see, I'm giving you more information about what it is I'm seeing and experiencing when I'm at the city. That is an example of expository. I'm not trying to convince you to come to the city with me. I'm not trying to tell you that if you don't go to the city, you're, on another planet. I'm not telling you how if you're not a city guy or a city girl, then who are you? I'm not trying to put you down or try to convince you one way or another. What I'm simply doing is writing down the explanation and description of what I told you about in the first paragraph. That is expository writing. Now, let's say real quick that I decided to tell you about the trees that I see in the forest. I put down, I love walking through the forest and seeing the trees and the squirrels. Now, that could be a first paragraph. That could be a first paragraph. I love walking through the forest and seeing the trees and the squirrels. And then in a second paragraph, I could tell you the trees are so beautiful. And I would then say, with their leaves hanging down, with their leaves hanging down, and the branches spread out so wide. The branches spread out so wide. See what I did? The trees are so beautiful with the leaves hanging down and the branches spread out so wide. That's more detail. That is describing what I see when I go into the forest. You see, I walk into that forest, I love being in that forest, and then I tell you more about it. That is expository. When I tell you what I'm doing, or what I want to do, what I like, or what you need to know about in that first paragraph, and then I give you more details in the other paragraphs. Usually, that'll last 3 or 4 paragraphs, and then at the very end, there's a last paragraph, which I call a conclusion. And then I say in that conclusion, let's say about the forests, I say, yes, those forests are a place I like to go. It gives me a chance to rest and relax. I think forests are good to be at, especially when I need a time alone. That's a way to conclude an expository essay. And going back to what I was saying about the farmers, you could do the same thing there by concluding, it's been a rough 3 years, and those farmers are still working on surviving the drought. We hope they do. That's another way to conclude your expository essay. Are you seeing what I'm saying? Are you seeing what I'm saying? I hope so. Now, your teacher has more answers. Later.